We treat our finances like a constant conversation, a negotiation with ourselves every single day. Should I save this? Can I afford that? It's a low-grade hum of anxiety that we just learn to live with. We assume that's what being responsible with money has to feel like, a never-ending test of our willpower. But what if the entire goal was to stop having that conversation? To make the decisions once, and then let them run on their own, quietly, in the background of your life. This is the profound, counterintuitive heart of David Bach's The Automatic Millionaire. It's not a book about getting rich quick. It's a book about getting rich quietly, while you're focused on everything else. It explores how true financial peace isn't found in more control, but in less. In building a system so reliable, you can forget about it and finally breathe. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Meeting the Automatic Millionaire. It's the strangest thing. The stories we tell ourselves about money, who gets to have it, and why. We build these elaborate mythologies around wealth, that it belongs to the lucky, the brilliant, the ruthless, the ones born into it, or the ones who work 100 hours a week. It's a comforting story in a way. If it's reserved for those people with those traits, then our own situation isn't really our fault. It's just the way things are, the deck we were dealt. But then you meet a couple like Jim and Sue, not on a magazine cover, not as celebrities. You meet them in the quiet details of an ordinary life. He was a maintenance manager at a hardware store. She was a secretary. They never earned six figures. Not even close. They raised kids, paid a mortgage, went on modest vacations. They lived a life so recognizably normal it could almost fade into the background, until you learn they retired in their 50s, debt-free, owning 2 homes outright, and giving away thousands to charity every year. And your brain does this little sputter. It doesn't compute. The mythology cracks. Because the secret wasn't what they earned, it was what they didn't do. They didn't budget. Not in the grim spreadsheet sense that makes you feel like you're in financial detention. They didn't rely on willpower, that flimsy, fading thing we all run out of by Wednesday. They didn't even make active financial decisions, month after month, year after year. Their wealth wasn't built on decisions. It was built on a single decision, made once, and then forgotten. They automated everything. That's the quiet, revolutionary idea at the heart of this. It's not about intelligence. It's not even about discipline. Not really. It's about systems. It's about designing a flow for your money that happens without you, while you're sleeping, while you're focused on your job, your family, your life. Jim and Sue's financial life ran on autopilot. Their savings, their investments, their mortgage payments, their giving it all just flowed. On schedule, without emotion, without the internal debate of, can I afford this? Or should I skip it this month? Think about that for a second. The greatest wealth-building tool they had was their own absence, their own lack of involvement. They removed themselves, their fears, their temptations, their short-term thinking from the equation. We spend so much energy trying to control our money, to master it, to outsmart our own impulses. What if the real mastery was in letting go? In setting up channels so reliable, so ingrained, that the money simply moves to where it needs to go, like water finding its path downhill. The system becomes the discipline. The automation becomes the willpower. Jim and Sue's story isn't extraordinary because of what they achieved. It's extraordinary because of how painfully ordinary the method is. It's available to the maintenance manager, to the secretary, to you. It asks for one moment of clarity, one afternoon of setting things in motion, and then it asks you to walk away and live your life. The machinery hums quietly in the background, building a future you've already decided you want, while you're just living. That's the powerful contradiction here. To finish rich, you have to stop trying so hard to get rich. You have to stop fighting with yourself and start trusting a system you built for the person you want to become. Chapter 2. The Latte Factor. Becoming an automatic millionaire on just a few dollars a day. There's a quiet war happening in your hand every single day. It's not dramatic. There's no explosion. It's the soft tap of a card reader, the casual swipe for a drink you barely remember tasting, the subscription you forgot you had, billing you for a service you haven't opened in months. We dismiss these things because they're small, trivial, invisible, a few dollars, drifting away like loose change falling through a hole in your pocket. What harm could it possibly do? The harm isn't in the amount, it's in the story we tell ourselves about it. We label it just a latte, just a streaming service, just lunch out instead of bringing it from home. And in that word just, we grant it permission. We excuse it from the larger narrative of our financial life. It's a background character, an extra. It couldn't possibly be the villain. But let's follow that $3 coffee. Not for a day, for a decade. Imagine that $3 every weekday. Now, imagine you didn't spend it. Imagine instead, you captured it. You put it in a box that earns interest. Not a lot. Just a reasonable, quiet return. That $3 a day over 30 years isn't a few $1,000s. It grows to well over $70,000. For a coffee, a drink you consumed in 10 minutes for 30 years could have been a down payment on a house, a college fund, a retirement buffer that lets you sleep a little easier. That's the Latte Factor. It's not an attack on coffee. It's an attack on the word just. It's the stunning realization that your financial destiny isn't decided by your salary or your yearly bonus or that one stock pick. It's decided by your small, unconscious daily rituals, the invisible river of tiny expenses you never think to map. We look for the grand strategy, the brilliant move, while our future is quietly being siphoned off, $3 at a time. The magic here isn't in deprivation. It's not about never having a latte again. That's where people get angry and defensive, and they miss the point entirely. The magic is in awareness. It's in pausing for one honest moment to see the river, to trace its course. Your latte might be apps. It might be premium cable channels you don't watch. It might be the extra service on your car wash. It's whatever you spend without it ever touching the feeling centers of your brain. Because once you see it, you can redirect it. And that's the subtle, emotional shift. You're not losing your coffee. You're gaining something else. You're trading a fleeting habit for a future piece of freedom. You are, quite literally, funding your future autonomy with your present loose change. You turn the invisible drain into an invisible drip irrigation system, watering the garden of your future self. And the most profound part? You don't feel it. When you automate that $3, when you set it to flow into an investment account before it ever hits your spending account, you don't feel poorer. You don't feel the sacrifice. Your lifestyle adjusts silently, painlessly, around that missing $3. You still live your life. But now, in the background, a different story is being written. One where your small, forgotten dollars are mustering into an army, building a fortress for you, one brick at a time, while you're just living. And maybe, today, you even bought the coffee, but you bought it knowing you'd already paid your future first. Chapter 3. Learn to pay yourself first. We all follow a familiar routine with money, don't we? It feels automatic, like it's just how adult life works. The paycheck arrives. First, you pay the rent or the mortgage. Then, the bills, electricity, water, groceries, gas. You pay taxes. You pay everyone else. And only after that, you look at what's left. Whatever remains becomes your savings, if there's anything left at all. That last step feels small and uncertain. It feels like you're rewarding yourself only if the world allows it. No wonder it rarely works. You've put your own future last on the list. Now, imagine reversing that order. It sounds almost too simple, but it changes everything. Pay yourself first, not with what's left, but right from the beginning. Before anything else takes a share. Take your portion off the top intentionally, not by accident. This isn't just a financial move, it's a mindset shift. It's about how you value yourself. When you pay everyone else first, you send yourself a quiet message that their needs are more important than your security, your plans, your peace of mind. But what could be more important than your future stability? Than your family's comfort? Than your own sense of calm? The idea of pay yourself first removes all the noise. You don't need fancy apps or endless discipline. You simply make yourself the first priority. And when you do, when you automatically move that amount into savings or investments, the moment your income arrives, something powerful happens. You stop seeing that money as available to spend. It's not there to tempt you. It already has a job building your future. And what's left? You adjust. You always do. Human beings are great at adapting. If your income were reduced by 10% tomorrow, you'd find a way to manage. This is the same principle, but instead of losing that money, you're giving it to the most important person in your life, your future self. The focus shifts from trying to save to simply living on what's left after saving. Saving becomes effortless, not about cutting back, but about putting yourself first. The success doesn't happen at the store when you skip a purchase. It happens the moment the transfer is made automatically, quietly, without stress. After that, everything you spend comes from what's truly available. It's not about struggle or sacrifice. It's about calm consistency. You're no longer reacting, you're leading. You're choosing to make your future non-negotiable. That's the real power of paying yourself first. It's not just about money. It's about self-respect, the peace that comes from knowing you've taken care of tomorrow before the world makes its demands today. And that peace, that's what financial freedom really feels like. Chapter 4. Now make it automatic. There's a gap between knowing and doing that feels like a canyon. We can understand something perfectly. We can nod our heads, feel the truth of it in our bones. Pay yourself first. Redirect the Latte Factor. Build a system. The ideas are brilliant. They're simple. And then Monday morning comes. The email inbox is full. Your kid gets sick. The car makes a funny noise. And the brilliant, simple idea gets filed away in a drawer labeled someday. Someday, when I have more time. Someday, when things calm down. Someday, when I feel more disciplined. This is the quiet tragedy of self-improvement. We mistake insight for change. We believe that understanding the map is the same as taking the journey. It's not. The bridge across that canyon isn't more knowledge. It's automation. Automation is the surrender to your own humanity. It's the admission that your future self, the one reading this right now, is wise and full of good intentions. And your present self, next Tuesday at 5 p.m., is tired, distracted, and vulnerable to every clever advertisement and moment of weakness. To trust your present self with critical, repetitive tasks is a form of self-sabotage. You are setting a mouse to guard the cheese. So, you build a moat. You create a system that the tired, distracted version of you cannot breach. You schedule the transfers for the morning after payday, every payday, without exception. You set up the investment contribution to pull automatically. You authorize the extra mortgage payment to happen on its own, like clockwork. You do it once, in one clear-eyed moment of commitment, and then you walk away. The beauty of this is its profound laziness. You are not required to be a hero every 2 weeks. You are not required to renew your vows to financial discipline month after month. The system is the discipline. It's the benevolent robot you hired to protect you from yourself. It has no emotions. It doesn't get tempted by a sale. It doesn't feel too busy to log in. It just executes the order you gave it in your moment of clarity. This is how ordinary people build extraordinary things, not through Herculean effort, but through a simple, elegant setup that runs in the background of a busy, messy, wonderful life. Your energy is freed. The mental tax of constantly making decisions. Should I save this month? Can I afford to invest? That tax is abolished. The decision was made once. It's now a fact of your financial life, as immutable as gravity. The money flows where it's supposed to. You stop wrestling with it. And that's the real freedom. It's not the money in the account, not yet. It's the freedom from the constant internal negotiation, the guilt, the second guessing. The system runs, and you get to forget about it. You get to focus on your work, your relationships, your curiosity. Your wealth grows in the silence while you're paying attention to everything else. You made a promise to your future self, and you built a machine to keep it, so you don't have to. Chapter 5. Automate for a rainy day. We build our plans on solid ground. We chart a course for a calm sea and a clear sky. It's human nature. We project forward from today's reality, assuming tomorrow will be a slightly smoother, slightly better version of now. But life doesn't move in a straight line. It lurches. It sends a storm you never saw on the forecast. The engine light comes on. The tooth aches. The company announces a restructuring. These aren't failures of character. They're facts of existence. And when they hit, the last thing you need is a financial debate. That's what an emergency fund really is. It's not a savings account. It's a silence fund. It's the money that allows a crisis to remain just a crisis, a logistical problem to be solved, and not metastasize into a full-blown panic. Without it, a $500 car repair doesn't just cost $500. It costs sleepless nights. It costs desperate calculations. It costs high-interest credit card debt that compounds the problem for months. It turns a cloudy day into a quicksand pit. The old advice is to save 3 to 6 months of expenses, and that number can feel so large, so abstract, it paralyzes you before you begin. You look at your monthly nut, multiply it, and think, I could never. So you save nothing. The perfect becomes the enemy of the good, the enemy of the necessary. Automation disarms that fear. You don't start by staring at the mountain. You start by building a single, tiny, automatic path. You decide that every Friday, $20 walks out of your checking account and into a separate, slightly harder to reach savings account. You don't think about the $20. You don't bless it or curse it. You just let the path exist. And one Friday, you'll glance at that account and there will be a few $100s. It won't feel like you saved it. It will feel like you found it. A small oasis you built without sweating. This is the emotional core of it. You are not building a wall against misfortune all at once. You are laying bricks, automatically, while the sun is shining. So when the rain comes, and it will, you're not outside desperately trying to mix cement in the downpour. You're already inside. You're dry. The wall is there. You hear the rain on the roof, but it's just weather. It's not an existential threat. That separate account is crucial. It needs to be out of the daily line of sight, not in your main checking window where it looks like spendable money. It should be a little bit inconvenient, a place where money goes in but doesn't easily come out. This isn't for a new TV. This is for the peace of mind that is more valuable than any television ever made. Automating your rainy day fund is the ultimate act of self-compassion. It's you, today, putting an arm around the shoulder of you on your worst future day and saying, I got you. I knew this might happen. It's okay. You are pre-forgiving yourself for the unpredictability of life. And in doing that, you drain so much of the future's potential fear right now. The storm loses its power before the first cloud even forms. Chapter 6. Automatic Debt. Free Homeownership. We call it the American dream. But for so many, homeownership feels like a quiet, 30-year anxiety dream. The mortgage statement arrives, this monolithic reminder of a debt so large it has its own name. We celebrate the purchase, then we spend decades subtly resenting the monthly bleed. The bank owns the asset. We just live in it, paying for the privilege. It's a transaction that can feel less like building a castle and more like renting a plot in your own kingdom. But what if we've been thinking about the entire mechanism backwards? The house isn't the liability. The interest is the liability. The house, the land, the space, that's the asset. It's where you live your life. The interest is the toll you pay for the bridge loan to get it. And automation offers a quiet, almost subversive way to burn that bridge down faster than you ever thought possible. It starts with a simple, nearly invisible tweak. You make your mortgage payment every 2 weeks instead of once a month. Now, logically, that shouldn't matter, but it does, because there are 52 weeks in a year, 26 bi-weekly payments. That's the equivalent of 13 monthly payments, not 12. You make one extra payment a year, but you don't feel it. The amount is half the size. It just happens automatically. The math is stunning in its quiet power. On a 30-year mortgage, That single, painless extra payment each year can shave years off the loan. It can save you tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, in interest. You're not earning a return on an investment in the traditional sense. You're earning a guaranteed, massive tax-free return by not paying interest. It's the highest yield, lowest risk investment most people will ever make. And you do it by living in your house. This is where automation becomes alchemy. You are transforming your biggest monthly expense, your shelter, into your most powerful wealth-building machine. You're not just paying for a roof over your head. You are accelerating the moment you truly, fully own it. The moment the deed is yours in spirit, not just on paper. The moment that monthly payment vanishes and frees up a river of cash for the rest of your life. Think about that emotional shift. You go from a debtor, with a finish line so far in the distance it's abstract, to a conqueror, watching the horizon draw nearer with every automated transfer. The house stops being a weight and starts being a rocket. Every brick, every window, becomes part of a system working for you while you sleep. You are turning your home back into a home, a place of security, not stress, a foundation, not a financial millstone, and you did it without a second job, without a lottery ticket. You did it by changing the rhythm of the payments and then letting go. The system does the work. You just get to live there, in a place that is, little by little, becoming more and more yours. Chapter 7. The Automatic Debt-Free Lifestyle. Debt has a sound. It's not the ring of a cash register or the tear of an envelope. It's the low, constant hum of background anxiety. It's the silent calculation that runs when you look at a menu, when you consider a vacation, when you think about changing jobs. It's the feeling of your financial life having a slight gravity pull, a resistance toward the past. You're not moving forward cleanly. You're dragging something. And the interest? That's the tax on the weight. You're paying for the privilege of carrying the burden. We talk about being in debt as a number, a balance on a statement, but it's more of a climate. It's the weather inside your mind, a little less sunny, a little more prone to sudden cold fronts of worry. So the goal isn't just to pay off a number, it's to change the climate, to quiet the hum. And willpower is a terrible tool for this. Trying to outmuscle debt with monthly decisions is like trying to bail out a boat with a teaspoon while more water is coming in. You get tired, you get discouraged, you miss a month. The interest laughs and compounds. Automation is the pump. It's the mechanical, emotionless solution to an emotional problem. You start with the smallest debt, not the one with the highest interest rate. Necessarily, that's the math answer. Start with the smallest balance. The psychology is different. You set up an automatic payment, just a little above the minimum, an amount you won't feel or you'll quickly forget about, and you let it run. Then, 1 month, it happens. The balance hits zero. The account closes. A monthly obligation disappears from your life forever. The sound it makes is silence. And in that silence, you feel something new. Momentum. You weren't just bailing water. You permanently plugged one leak. Now, you take that entire payment, the one you're already used to living without, and you automatically point it at the next smallest debt. The pump gets more powerful. The flow increases. This is the snowball. But it's not you pushing it. You built the slope. You pointed it downhill. Automation gives it the first nudge. Then you step back. You watch it gain mass and speed on its own. The victories start small. Then they build. Each paid-off card, each cleared loan isn't just a line item deleted. It's a monthly invoice that will never arrive again. It's a piece of your mental bandwidth that's been freed up. It's a source of quiet pride that has nothing to do with income, but everything to do with order. You aren't just becoming debt-free, you're becoming payment-free. You're systematically deleting the fixed costs of your past decisions. And with each deletion, your present becomes more spacious. Your future becomes more flexible. The gravity lessens. The hum fades. Until one day, you realize the climate has shifted. The internal weather is calm. The money you earn is yours. All of it. Not a portion after the tolls are paid. It just lands. And stays. You've stopped funding your past. And you can finally start funding your future and your present on your own terms. The weight is gone. You forgot what it felt like to carry it. Now, you just feel light. Chapter 8. Make a difference with automatic tithing. There's a ceiling we don't often talk about in the pursuit of money. It's not a number, it's a feeling, a hollowness. You can automate your savings, vaporize your debt, own your home free and clear, and still feel a slight, unsettling distance from the whole project of wealth. It can become a game of numbers on a screen, a scorekeeping that loses its meaning. Because wealth, in a vacuum, is just math. And humans aren't wired for math. We're wired for meaning. That's where the final, most profound gear in the automatic system clicks into place. Giving. Not the sporadic, guilt-driven donation when a disaster flashes on the news, but planned, systematic, automatic giving. Tithing, setting a percentage to flow out, on schedule, to something beyond yourself. This seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? After all this work to gather, to build, to protect, why would you voluntarily let some go? But that's the exact point. It's the voluntary release that completes the circuit. It transforms your wealth from a stockpile into a flow. A river, not a reservoir. And a river is alive. A reservoir just sits. When you automate your giving, you perform a magic trick on your own psychology. You make generosity a fixed cost, as non-negotiable as your mortgage used to be. But this payment doesn't buy you shelter or a car. It buys you perspective. It buys you a direct, tangible connection between your labor and someone else's relief, or joy, or opportunity. That 5%, or 2%, or 10% that leaves your account every month, it's a silent ambassador. It tells you that this money was never entirely yours to begin with. It was always a tool, and now you're directing it to its most human purpose. The automation is key. It removes the virtue from the act. You're not patting yourself on the back every time you write a check. You're not performing generosity. You've institutionalized it. It's a line item, as quiet and humble as the electric bill. This is how you make giving a part of your character, not just an occasional event. It becomes who you are, financially, by default. And something quietly beautiful happens. You start to see your money differently. The portion you keep feels cleaner, lighter. It's been shared already. There's no lingering guilt of, I should be giving. You already did. You're free to enjoy what remains, fully. The act of giving first sanctifies the act of keeping. It makes your financial life whole. This is the emotional resolution the system was building toward all along. Not just financial freedom, but financial wholeness. A machine that not only builds security, but also manufactures meaning. It pays your future self, it protects your present self, and it connects you to the world beyond yourself, all on autopilot. The final click of the system is the one that opens the window, letting the fresh air in, reminding you that the point of building a secure fortress wasn't to hide inside it. It was to give you a solid place to stand, so you could reach out and help pull someone else up. The journey ends not with a number, but with a feeling. The quiet hum isn't anxiety anymore. It's the sound of a well-tuned engine, purring in the background of a life that is now, finally, your own. You are the automatic millionaire. Not because of a secret, but because of a system. A system that lets you forget about money so you can remember to live. And if this quiet revolution in thinking, trading, willpower for systems, and anxiety for automation made something click for you today, then perhaps this is where the conversation starts, not ends. I'd be truly curious to know which piece of this resonated most. Was it the latte factor, that reveal of your invisible river, or the profound piece of automating your rainy day? Drop a single word or a single thought in the comments below. Let's keep this human, and if you want these calm reminders that your financial life can be simpler than you think, consider subscribing. It's just a quiet click, no grand promises. Just a nudge now and then to help you keep your system running so you can keep living your life.